Welcome back to Alfajiri. Thank you so much for staying tuned throughout this particular show. And it's Thursday. As you all know, Thursdays are Relationship Thursdays, where we get to talk matters relationships. Now, a study done by the National Council on Family Relationship found out that money matters are major predators of divorce. Also, TD Banks predicted that 63% of divorces are caused by money issues in a relationship. Okay? So I'm going to be having this discussion with George, Esther, and Maina. Welcome to Alfajiri. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this particular discussion.
Thank you.
Yes, if I could just have you guys introduce yourself and tell us your background. So let me start with you, George.
Thank you, Sarah. First and foremost, I'm a married person, which I think is a big part of why we're here. I'm a speaker, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, and I'm very passionate about relationships. Together with my wife, we facilitate a marriage counseling program known as Ndoa, and so I'm happy to be able to weigh in on the conversation.
Yes, and of course your wife is Faith Muturi, who's just here a couple of minutes ago.
Yes,
wow.
It's a full house, we're all here
Couple
today.
goals, man. This is what we talk about. Yes, Esther.
Thank you, Sarah. Esther Mbao.
Yes.
I'm a counseling psychologist. Currently, I'm the regional coordinator for Nairobi at Amani Counseling Center and Training Institute. I'm very passionate about relationships as well, and also about the young people. I have a heart for them.
Okay, thank you very much. Maina, we've had you here before, a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Sure.
Yes, kindly introduce yourself.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I'm still waiting for my present, by the way.
You'll get it.
You made a commitment, right?
On air.
Yes.
So don't worry, you'll get it.
Sawa.
So, good morning, viewers. My name is Maina Azimio. I am a wellness trainer. So I train in a company called Azima Wellness Consultant. So what we do is that we take people through the processes of how to secure the body, mental, how we think, then the finances. You know, finance is very key, not just in marriage, in everything that we do. Then emotions.
Wow.
And see, money is emotional.
Exactly.
So we'll be talking more about this and how we unpack this so that we can help our viewers.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't have a better panelist just to discuss this particular matter, money and marriage. Now, do you guys agree with the National Council study on family matters that predicted one of the major causes of divorce is money issues?
Shocking,
George,
but true.
let me start with you.
It's quite shocking, but true. It's something we've come to make peace with. In recent times, you know, for the longest time, we've always felt that the cause of the most common cause of splits in marriage or divorce in marriage is probably infidelity and in-laws, and they're also right up there. But surprisingly, money is
one of the issues.
It's been holding the #1 position for quite some time.
Esther?
I totally agree with the statistics. More and more couples are coming actually in for counseling because of financial issues. What happens is you get married, you spend all your time planning for this wedding, and you talk about the wedding finances, but you never talk about life after that. Exactly. You never talk about the finances. So when you get into this marriage and you didn't have a plan and you didn't have a roadmap and you didn't have the tough conversation about our finances, issues begin to emerge because there's a clash of personalities. You know, the person I could be a spender, you could be a saver. Exactly. My goals in terms of financial management could be totally different from yours. Exactly. So when we live together and these things are not coming in place and merging and synergizing, issues begin to emerge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maina, what do you think? Do you think that money is one of the major causes of divorce in the world?
Well, yes and no. I want to throw a spanner into the works. When we say money, it's like we are blaming money. It is how we relate with money that is a problem. And what we need to unpack is what is our relationship with money. One thing is, I personally, where I come from, since the time I was, I went to Sunday school before I went to nursery. Then I went to nursery school, primary school, secondary, college. I was never taught anywhere about money. And it's a critical thing. It is involved everywhere in our life cycle. Okay. So what we need to do is to get people to understand how we relate to the money.
Mr. Maina, we seem to have a problem with your mic, so as we are trying to fix that, let me throw this to George and Esther.
I could also echo what Maina is saying as we fix his mic. To also expand on what I said. What happens is that money in itself, and people like to say that because there's an old adage, we say that money is evil, money is bad, don't think about money all the time, rich people are bad. And there's one of the people who I follow, he's a very prominent financial coach, globally, Patrick Bet-David, and he says that in his family growing up, and something which I believe many people can relate with, he grew up in a humble background like many of us did, and he says that his parents always told him money is bad, money is evil, rich people are greedy, and all those things.
So you grew up with that mentality.
Yet,
Yeah.
the biggest cause of conflict in his family was still money. So it doesn't mean that if you're not well off, you're free from the evils and the negative, whatever negative and ill that the money brings. So I will echo what Mr. Maina says, that it's quite possible that it's also sometimes how we go about it, because money is a necessary part of our lives. And go ahead. Yeah.
Maybe to just take us a bit backwards is to go back to who am I?
Yes.
And where in my value system have I placed money?
Exactly.
Is money very important to me, or is it not important to me?
Yeah.
So it goes back to who am I, what's my personality type, and when it comes to money, what are the beliefs I have about money? Are they true or false? And more importantly, in my values, where is money? Is it number 1 or is it number 5? If it's number 1 and yours it's number 5, there will definitely be a clash.
Okay. Interesting conversation right here. And I'd like to hear from you back at home. Do you think money is a major predictor of divorce? Right? Do you think, rather, let me just repeat this. Should couples have a joint account? Interesting question. Should couples have a joint account? What's your opinion? I'd like to hear that from you. Please be sure to reach us out on our social media platforms. Our Facebook page is K24TV. Instagram and Twitter is at K24TV. Interesting question right there. And let me ask you guys, George, now since you're here and Faith is somewhere around this building, do you guys have a joint account? And would you open a joint account?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we say that it's the biggest paradox or even joke that people say that they, in marriage, you will share everything. And I think I like to always, one of the people who I speak to a lot, one of my friends and mentor says that it's funny that, and I'll put this to the ladies, a lady when she gets married, she gives up literally and virtually everything. Her name, her identity.
Exactly.
You know how it goes, even her body, especially because of matters to do with childbearing and all that. So it's ironic that you would say that you have given up everything except money. And probably I should have put this in the introduction that I am a believer, I'm a born-again Christian. And as a follower of Christ, one of the things that Christ did, he spoke more about money than so many other topics.
Exactly.
So I think there's something about money.
Yeah.
And so if, as a couple, you are not able to, not focus and zero in specifically on the account, but if you're not open, if you're not operating on an open and transparent basis, that could be a major indicator of a lot of other problems, because money is an indicator of where your heart is.
Exactly.
Yes.
Esther, am I supposed to be very transparent to my partner and let them know this is how much I'm earning, this is how much, and he should also let me know how much he's earning. And, you know, we as women sometimes feel that, you know, my money is my money, your money is our money. What is your take on that?
You say that there's that joke that goes around that if he has 2,000 and I have 50,000, this house has how much? 2,000.
2,000, yes.
But that should not be the case. It should be on an individual and a relationship basis. We should sit down and agree, even before marriage, as we're agreeing on all these other things. What have we agreed in terms of our money? How much does he really earn, and how much do I really earn, and how do you want to work things around? If we do not want to have an open account, a joint account, I mean, we could allow each other to have access. You know, that's what transparency is all about. It doesn't mean that because we've put our money together, I'm being transparent. We live in a society where the woman is always told, "Wah! Ebu jipange," you know, always have that secret account.
Exactly.
Anything
and
can happen, you know. So we could be having a joint account, but I'm having a little secret behind. So it's about how do we relate to on a very personal level. You know, am I comfortable with you to the point that I can disclose in my account I have this? I know you have access, but I know you'll respect that if you want to have this money, you'll actually consult me first. So it goes back to the respect we have for each other in this relationship. Yeah.
All right. Amina, how safe is a couple to have joint accounts? As a financial advisor.
Thank you. Thank you. It's as safe as your thoughts about money. Because if your thoughts about money is emotional, it will not be safe. But if it's realistic, it will be. Because I want to throw a spanner into the works. The reason why money is causing havoc in marriage is because of its scarcity, not having enough. If you have enough money and you are not having any wants that you are not able to meet, you will not have a problem.
Yeah.
When I have got money problems, yes, I start thinking about what next to do. But if the money that we're having has got scarcity, is not enough, that's the time problems comes.
Yeah.
But again, when the money is available, you can also spend it in the wrong way.
I think we both
So you
beg to
need to
differ.
balance.
Yeah, I
We
beg
both-
to differ.
Yes.
Money will never be enough. Let's be very honest. If money was ever enough, the millionaires would still not be going to work. But they're
Exactly.
going to build more. So money will never really be enough.
Alright.
It is about, am I content with where we are at this point?
Yes.
And have we agreed on how we are spending, even as we work towards getting more? It's also about managing my expectations.
Exactly.
If you used to take me to Java every other day,
Yes.
and you marry me in Karen, and then you move me to this nice house, and then one day you come and tell me you don't have money.
Yeah.
Hey, my friend,
It's
you
a
didn't manage
problem.
my expectations. So
also-
money will never be
The money never be enough. And also, in addition to that, what happens is that you find, in as much as you may have a lot of money, I mean, if you go online, you see all sorts of ostentatious, very lavish. I think the evidence are
Social media, Kwanza, it's
pressure.
You know,
Yes.
so I would feel we have plenty of money,
Yeah.
Yes.
but I'm into wild animals. I'm a collector. I'm into, game. Is it called game or something?
Yeah.
So I have like 5 lions, 3 cheetahs. I even got a rhinoceros from God knows where.
Yeah.
And there are some things that you need. There's some needs which are important to you as, let's say, my wife,
Yes.
and they're not being met. So we have
True.
plenty of money.
Exactly.
But how we are spending the money.
Yes.
So having plenty of money cannot be the solution. to-
true.
Minor.
Let me correct
Clarify to this too.
Let me
what
do this.
you're trying to say.
Now come with me. Who is the richest man in the world?
Well, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett,
Bill Gates.
surely-
Does he go to work? Does Bill Gates go to work?
Well,
he
has a
retired.
couple of
He retired
companies.
from his own
retired,
company. From his own
yeah.
company. What
Yeah.
does he do?
Right now he's doing a lot of charity.
He's
work.
giving away money.
Yes.
You see, does he have enough?
For him,
He's
he has
giving.
enough.
That's what. Then don't say again that money cannot be enough. You can get enough money. Warren Buffett get 30 billion US dollars. Now look at the person who did WhatsApp. 4 years. He sold it at how much?
For billions.
19 billion US dollars. What can't you buy? You buy a yacht, you buy the plane that you want, you buy anything. You see, our thoughts are the problem. And that's why Nazima Wellness Consultant, we first said mental wellness. If you think scarcity, you'll get scarcity. If you think enough, you'll get enough. I want us to come to the level that we will be at a space that money is not an issue. Other factors are considering. You see, like now, look at His Highness the Aga Khan. Aga Khan owns so much in this city, in Kenya. You see?
And
Aga
even
Khan.
outside Kenya.
Yes, and outside Kenya.
Yeah.
So the kind of money that comes into his account, by the way, I train people to be able to make systems that earn you money, not you earning because you're working. Passive income that is beyond what you spend. Then you give to charity because God blessed us with the
I'd
capacity.
like to pose a
that's
question.
okay.
I'd like to
And
pose a
that's
question
okay.
as we reflect on what Mine has just said.
Yeah.
We talk about, for the married people, I guess even the audience could weigh in on this one. What is the best size of bed? I guess also you have a bit of that because of your background. What is the best size of bed? Lots of people say, well, you get a 6x6 bed,
Exactly.
5 by for a married couple.
A queen size.
A queen size, king size,
size,
AC.
yes.
I'll just go ahead and give you the answer. It's been said that probably some of the best beds are probably the slightly smaller beds. Why? Because
Brings
if you
you guys
exactly,
together.
you have to be together. If you have a rough patch argument, whatnot, at some point in the night you might have to touch each other, or you may make contact. If you have a 6 or 7 or whatever size, the kind of sizes are, you could each be at your own corner. Probably even 2 other people could fit in, and no one will touch. So sometimes money, like financial freedom, could possibly allow you to buy an island and be as far as possible as you need to be from the person who is supposedly supposed to be your life partner.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily solve everything. It can actually
Yeah.
create the
drift between
means.
the two.
There you go. There you
Okay,
go.
yes.
I think
Esther.
for me, scarcity is, like he said, it's a mental state. It's not really about the amount. We could be having 10,000, but we are very okay. It's
Exactly.
because we are at peace, we've agreed, we are in tune, we respect each other. I feel my needs have been met, your needs have been met, and we are growing towards the billions. So it's not really about the amount. It is about, are we fine? Do we have self-control first? You know, we are also in a generation where there's no self-control. I've seen you with a nice shoe. I must get that shoe. You know, instead of going back to ask myself, what is my life journey?
Yeah.
What is really important for me?
And you know what? This actually does bring us to the next point, which is the personality difference. And like, for example, my partner might be the spender. I'm more of a miser. How do we merge? How do we gel as a couple?
Thank you. The point here is simple, and you go back to where we began. How do we relate with money? So the moment we have got proper ways of relating with money, we'll have no conflicts. Because you feel good when you spend, but do we have enough? Because first is the income, then the expenses. And most people don't know how to differentiate between the two. Anytime you spend more than what is coming in, there will be problems. So what you need to do as a couple first, because a family has got the husband and the wife, then the children. Before the children come in, you two have to agree on what you'll be doing.
Yes.
And I want us today to give our viewers hope. There's a way that you can learn how to make money enough for you and to give, because God gave us the work to come and serve humanity.
Exactly, yeah.
And especially when you come from the Kenyan background, most people don't have money. By the way, money is a big issue.
But how do you quantify enough, Maina?
Enough is needs.
Okay.
First and foremost,
Food,
this January. Remember, the other time we were talking about we were talking of gifts. I was here also another
Saving
time we
for
were
the-
talking about
yes.
January.
Yes.
It's because you don't budget. I normally sit down with my wife. We write all the things that we use in our house. We've been married for the last 32 years now. So with 32 years of marriage, we have now synchronized how we spend our money. So we have now a clear list of the things that we want to do with our money, the whole of, not just January,
Yeah.
up to December.
Yeah.
After we look at it and then we strike out the things that which are not priority, we prioritize our list. We know how much money we need to spend in 1 month. Then we ask ourselves, where does this money come from? Because there is the income, then expenses. If the income is not meeting the expenses, we strike them off or we delay some. So what I'm saying here is that we need to have a clear program on how we are going to spend our money. That time there will be no conflict in families because you agree, and you can have a joint account. But you don't tell me we open a joint account and I don't know what your plans are with money.
I think
It goes back to
ahead, yeah.
it goes back to communication.
Exactly.
Are we being very honest in our communication?
Right before the marriage.
Right before the
Yes.
marriage, even right before the marriage,
Yes.
you know, sometimes you could be having communication, but am I first being real? You know, if you're not being real with yourself, you can't be real even with your partner. So if I'm real with myself, and as I come to communicate, I'll come in very honest and very real.
Exactly.
And then we can be able to understand each other.
Yeah.
The other thing I need to say about communication, please don't communicate to change me.
Thank
That's
you very
the other
much.
thing about
Because
marriage. You want
yes.
to change me, yet you've married me the way I am.
Exactly.
Please.
And it is the same point that I was trying to put across when I was asking. You marry me, I'm a spender, you are a miser.
Yeah.
And you're expecting to change me. How does that happen? But yes.
I think a big part
Yes,
of what you've asked and what they've touched on brings out the issue of values. And this is to people who are either preparing to get married, who are married for whatever number of years. You can still get to a point of alignment. Values alignment is very important because, again, I say whether you have a lot of money or little money, they say money in itself is not evil, but it amplifies. If you get a lot of money, whatever it is you are, Bill Gates was a giver. So when he got to be the richest man on earth, it just amplified. He became the biggest giver on earth. Number 2 and 3, Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett, they Swisso. I think Warren Buffett still works up today. He's also very, very, well, in a sense, and he's very, he's not a spender. Makes sense. So I believe his personality has been amplified. Amazon, Jeff Bezos is really, he's a tech person. So I think he's just thinking of the next tech startup, etc. So the point is, I think it's about values. It's very important as you date or as you probably keep on doing checkpoints on your marriage. Do you have the same values? Because even as Mr. Maina says, you can say we agree that this is what we do as a house. We agree. I mean, you could fight about even toothpaste. You could fight about toilet paper. Someone wants to do premium, 3 count, whatever it is, which costs like 3 times the price of regular toilet paper.
Yeah.
And people could actually fall out because of that. So it's about values. As a couple, because you're 2 different people from 2 different backgrounds, you need to always check and see where are we at. What is it we as a couple care for? What is it we as a couple, what is our goal? Because marriages are meant to have purpose. What is the purpose of this marriage? So that even if at some point you may have a deficit on your budget, annual budgets, or surplus. Even if you have a deficit, say, okay, fine, we didn't get to our target, our money number for the year. But it's okay. We can scale down on this, scale down on this, scale down on the other. So even if we don't have enough money, which is very likely to happen, we are okay.
Yes.
Or even if we have a lot more money, we're going to go and dramatically alter our lifestyle.
Exactly.
We'll continue to to live as with. There's one thing I want to mention also about values, why values are so important, because marriage brings forth children. And it's in the Bible also, and that's one of the biggest purposes of marriage, Micah 3:10. And it says that, why I'm saying about children is because when you see families fighting, a lot of fighting, you know, you have very many prominent families in this country
Very true.
having very nasty succession battles. One of the biggest reasons of nasty succession battles is simply because the values of the parents were not clearly defined to each other, and those values were not carried forward to the next generation.
And these are also expectations.
True.
And expectations.
You should be able to talk about it.
Because what happens with values, as I just finished, is that if you pass away, God forbid, or when time everybody passes away, why you do wills and also try and translate or teach your children and people in your family what you care about. So when you go, the values and the things you care about, whatever Bill Gates cares about, will continue. That's why people do trust and foundations. But values is a big one, because if your values are not right, whatever money you have will end up being a curse and a blessing to your family and to the society as a whole.
Exactly.
So values are very important.
Wow, interesting, guys. Yes, man, real quick, because
Let
we
me
have
wrap
to
this.
take commercial
Let me
break.
wrap this. All this discussion we have talked about, it has zeroed into one thing. Let us learn ways of making enough money so that we don't actually have to fight. Because we are fighting.
enough
I will not
money?
change. I will not
It's
change
relative.
your spending. I will not change your spending habits. Because she doesn't want to be changed. Like you ladies, you are very sensitive.
How much is enough
We are now
money?
attacking the girls.
Honestly.
Mine has decided to
Yes.
attack the girl chat, but it's okay, guys. It's okay. Before
This one.
we shall tackle that as we go on commercial break. But first, let's have a look at the Twitter poll. What are people saying? If we could have that on our screens right now. All right. The question was, should couples have a joint account? And we have 39% saying yes, let's share accounts, and 61 saying, you know what, Akuna, we're back in Akomi, I'll back you with mine, and it's okay. Life, peace in the Middle East. All right. Okay, we're now going to take a short commercial break. Please do not go too far. Welcome back to Alfajiri. It's Relationship Thursday, and today we're talking about marriage and money. The question for the day was, should couples have a joint account? Should couples have a joint account? Before the commercial break, we had 38% saying yes, they should have a joint account, and 61 saying, you know what, it's never going to happen. Have your account, I'll have mine. Yes, that's 39%, sorry, saying yes, we should have a joint account, and 61 saying no way on earth are we going to have the same joint account. And you know, Mina, you've been...
Yes.
People are actually asking us, what does Mina mean when he says that enough money. What do you mean? And remember, guys, you can always call us. The numbers are right below the screen. Call us and let us know what you think about having a joint account with your spouse. And Esther, before the commercial break, you brought out something very important, which was children.
Yes.
When children come in, there's a lot of expectation, and this does affect how you manage your finances at home. How do you balance this?
I think it goes before even the children come in. Did you have the conversation? When we get children, which schools are we taking? Even before the schools, which hospital are we having our children in?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Karen? Is it Kenyatta? You know, we need to have that conversation, because even from the childbirth, it costs money.
And you know, we women always want the best.
Of course.
So I'll be here telling Maina, you know what? I want a presidential suite, by the way. It has to have a TV, very, very comfortable. I don't want to share my room with anyone. Yes. And which really does lead to a financial constraint, right?
Yeah.
Maina, how do you make sure that your kids are okay without straining your pockets?
The formula is simple. Work to create more. We said we have two columns, income and expenses. Income and expenses.
Yeah.
One thing we do is that he talks about values. So we must have family values. So for children, you don't want to expose them to a lot of luxuries when they are not meriting. I normally tell my children that you have to work to merit what you are asking for. Because there's a process. You do not spend before you work. You first work, then you earn, then spend. So for children, and they bring a lot of conflict in families, if the parents are not reading on the same page. And I say, then again, I want to repeat again, it all starts with scarcity. If there is enough, then you require now the values. Because if again without values, the children get spoiled. We have seen them. These cases are very many, and especially in this country, the people who made money in 70s, their children did not go very well. I'm sorry to say this. And even now it's happening.
But is it values first, then sorting out the scarcity, or sorting out the values?
The values come first.
Not scarcity.
They come first. So see now, because today we are talking about money, I want us to look at children and money. And all what we need to do is that the parents who, when the children are young, they need to have systems and processes of working to be able to make enough. Me personally, we're in the global village. People are watching us online now.
Exactly.
So we cannot be talking about Nairobi here and not thinking about New York or Tokyo. So people there, if you look at how much people are making in the global context, by the way, some money you never finish. Even if you spend now get those presidential suits in any hotel, it will never get finished. Because if your income per day is higher than any money you can finish, you can say you have enough. And again, you have a budget, you have needs. By the way, needs are very small for a human being. If what you want to get, I can say, God has been kind to me. I have been at a place where I could do anything that I wanted to do. If I wanted to go to New York on a Thursday for a weekend, I could afford that and go there.
Okay.
I have traveled the world. I have gone to all the continents. So to me, the need to go somewhere was not being limited by money. When I was at my young age, you see, when I was at my prime age. So what was happening is that I was satisfying an ego.
Yes.
Then my children, I brought them at that space, and they started doing those things. Until I realized, now I was taken through by my mentor about values, and I realized, no, giving your children what you didn't get when you are being brought up, you are spoiling them as well, because you want to bring up responsible children.
Exactly.
And that's why I started Azima Wellness Consultant, to train people that there is something beyond satisfying an ego.
Okay.
My wife, when we married and we are young, we didn't have much of that. We are not able to do this. The question is, are you doing it well?
Okay.
In fact, as I finish, there's a time I was 96 kg.
Oh, wow.
96 kg.
Wow.
Because I was living large. And I was spending the money that I was making now.
You were comfortable.
Yes, I was comfortable.
Okay.
But
Right.
I was told that this is a disease. And when I connected that with my mind and I actually bought that, it changed my life completely. And that's why nowadays I have got very good and any relationship with money, and I'm comfortable.
All right. Hold on right there, because we have Kington from Nakuru calling us. Hello, good morning, Kington. Hello? Hello? Hi, Kington.
Hello, good morning. Habari ya asubuhi.
Mzuri sana. Habari yako?
Okay, niko na swali it's about the joint account kidogo.
Tuulize tafadhali.
Hello.
Hello? Hello? Hello, Kington? Uh-oh, we lost him. Oh, too bad. Yes, Esther.
Answer to respond to Maina, it doesn't mean that because I give my children what I didn't have when I was growing up, I'm actually spoiling them. What happens is we also need to communicate about money to them from the word go when they're growing up. I can give them the toys they never had, but I never had. But what I do, I tell them we need to put it in the budget. Let's sit down. You want a toy? Let's put it in the family budget. These are the plans, these are the goals for our family. We want to build a house. We want to take you to a good school. So how much do we have left for your toy? It's this amount. So when can we buy it? Maybe next month. So it's how you start teaching your children from the word go about money. It's not really about you giving them what you didn't have that spoils them. It's the conversations you have around them. It's how they see you treating the money, how you're spending your money, you know?
Exactly.
So it's about really going back to communication.
Okay.
Can you also, by the time they're reaching their teenage years, can they be involved in planning in the budget? So that they understand that life is about budgeting.
Okay.
If you're a Christian, if you give them pocket money, from the word go, let them start tithing.
Okay, and we have Anastasia from Nyahururu. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Morning.
Morning, how are you?
Morning.
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much for
Good
tuning in to
morning.
Alfajiri. Yes, what's your question or comment?
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, what's your comment, please? Hello? Okay. I think we've...
Maybe I could weigh in on the children as we wait for them to come back.
Yeah.
I think this issue of children, I'm a parent, thank God. Thank God for our son. He's just he's about 13 months now.
Oh, wow.
And at that stage, because of being a parent at that stage, one of the things that we have come to appreciate is that children, they say, are born and they come like a computer with a blank hard disk. They literally do not have any pre-installed or pre-existing notions, biases, whatever it is that they have, preferences, etc. The same way we say that taste buds are like zero. They don't know sweet from sour, etc.
So they take it up from you.
They take it up from you.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to be careful. And I think it's even more important to be careful if you have a bit more than you need in your spending and what you teach your children. Because, for instance, if things change suddenly and you have to adjust your lifestyle.
Yeah.
For instance, if you've been taking your children to a school where it's $1 million shillings a semester,
Yeah.
$1 million shillings a term, and you know what kind of profile that kind of school brings.
Yeah.
And something happens, and all of a sudden you have to go to a public school. It's very likely that child will go through a very difficult, even emotional, probably even a crisis. You can call it a crisis of an existential crisis, for lack of a better word. Yeah?
Exactly.
So it's very important to be sustainable in what I think lifestyle you accustom your children to. The same way we teach children the foods we like.
Exactly.
We can't teach our children foods we cannot sustainably provide them every day in this country.
Or
we teach them what
habits.
or habits. We teach them
Yes.
what we do. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Also, it's important to also be aware that even if things go wrong, I mean, life happens. Sometimes it may not be a very extreme change of whatever. People lose jobs, people change from employment to entrepreneurship, whatever it is. It's important to always let your children know that there's a full life at every level. Some of the people who I admire most, some of our mentors, they have had to change their lifestyle, and sometimes you come from a multinational job,
Yeah.
and I mean, you can travel different countries over the weekend, and that's the profile of the job. You go to all sorts of country clubs, etc., etc. And that's great for the kids, right? And it's great for you. But then something happens, and it may not necessarily be a crisis, but just you have a transition of some sort.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you can't go to those places. You don't travel as much.
Okay.
It's very important to get them to appreciate our country. For instance, you can do holidays within Kenya. For instance, even on a Sunday after church, you could go to Arboretum.
Exactly.
And children...
Or to the national park.
Or the national park. Children
Yes.
don't have some of the biases we have.
Yeah.
They're happy climbing the trees, screaming, jumping, and all
Yeah.
that. One other thing I want to share, based on our faith, is that it's important also because we are not the source. As a parent, I am not the source. God is the source.
Exactly.
So it's important to also show the child that I pray. The same way you say, Daddy, I want a car. Daddy, I want this and that. It's important to show we will trust God that we'll be able to get that. Another family that I really admire were blessed to be able to acquire a house in the last year. And acquiring a house is actually quite a process. There's a legal part of it, the financial and all that. And they kept talking to their children and tell them, let's continue to pray that the house that we are looking, even when for the viewing, let's continue to pray that God will make it possible for us to have this house. As opposed to a parent who would say, you know what, I'm going to buy a house for this family. And I'm the provider. So I think as a child, even if things go wrong with your parent, God forbid if they pass away or something, so you realize that it was not my parent who was my ultimate source.
Yes.
My parent used to be a custodian and a steward, but the ultimate source is God.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, Mina, just hold on real quick because we'd like to hear what you are saying on social media. Jeff Motte, quite an interesting discussion. You're a married man. I don't know what your situation is.
Well, it's a very interesting one, by the way, because when it comes to relationships and finance, that whole joint account situation, it takes a lot of getting used to. But like they said, the most important thing is it's not even about whether it's joint or not, but it's a transparency that even if they're separate accounts, you know, I get 5,000 shillings in January, in February, in March. So that's all that's in there, and this is how we use it. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's what we're talking about. And we want your feedback on the same. Ndunge says, no, 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 for emphasis, by the way. One might be in need of money for emergency when the check isn't around. So that's usually the biggest issue on that front. So what happens for that emergency fund? Do you ask for permission before you go and withdraw that money and use it? That's her stance on that. Ivy Wanyama, no, because of trust issues. Let everyone have their account. Okay, so I think by the time you guys are in a relationship, at least that basic form of trust should be there, Ivy, before that happens. But thanks for that, Ivy. Mwanya Simon, yes, it is written for two will become one. If hamwezi share one family account juu eti hamuaminiani, hapo hakuna ndoa. And that's what Simon thinks on that front. If you're in a relationship, if you're married, then I mean all the finances put in one pot. Cheche says, hashtag K24Alfajiri, having a joint account is at your own risk. To me, doing so is like committing suicide. Wow. Very strong choice of words. But thank you for your honesty on that. G. Tolly, depending on their plans, I can say yes. Let them contribute by building their future. So, of course, if you guys, and of course, that's how a relationship is supposed to be. You're moving in the same direction, have the same couple goals, then it only means that you should have that joint account together. Davy Moronyo, yes, for savings account, and both be signatory on that. So I think that signatory is like the caveat, the warning, just in case somebody tries something. Kitengela, Great Homes, we are tuned in on that front. Asanteni sana, our people from Kitengela. If you can get another tweet there. Grace Kirago, yes, why not? It all depends on their trust. I think that's the key thing every single time coming up, whether you do it or not. It's all about that trust element. Mokua Manyara, I suggest a joint family account, at the very least a common account to be used for the home family needs. I think that's an interesting twist to it as well, in the sense that there's some people who have their separate individual accounts, but they also have that joint account where they all put their funds together. So if you need to go and buy mboga and Mzee hasn't figured, or vice versa, you don't have to wait for M-Pesa. Just go, do what you need to do from there, and then carry on with your business.
But ain't it funny how money is such a big deal in a relationship?
Such
a big deal. I mean, like, no, we are not going to share accounts. No, my money is my money, your money is your money.
It's almost like your identity. You know. True.
Okay, thank you so much, Jeff. Before we took on social media reaction, George brought up a very important point, which was family budget. And it's actually going to link up with bills at home. Who's responsible for the bills? Maina?
Both of you. It's joint. In fact, I say that from the word go, that the family sit together. I do that. It's like now, it's good. My colleagues here, and even you, you've not been around with money as long as I have been. So I can give you much more because from my own experience. In fact, the best thing to do is in a family, first and foremost, let me mention about the children. They both talked about how you train your children, how to spend money, how money is spent, but not how it is made. We need to get our children to know how money is made. Because if even now, sometimes you have got a family where either the wife is working, the husband is not working. But most cases is where the man is working, but the wife is not working. So we need to come together and actually we discuss how we are going to be able to make money to go to the pool. If you are going to run a family, you need to make sure that you are transparent, put money together, which is going to be the one that you benchmark your budget with. So your bill for electricity, let's say, or water, or rent, or whatever you're paying, school fees, it must be realistically benched on what you earn. If you borrow to pay consumption, you cannot sustain that. That is a fact. So what I want to say here is that we have been groomed, we have been programmed from school to get employed and get a certain salary, 100,000, and you live within that. I want to tell people today, that is very limiting life. You need to see how that money you are paid 100,000 is a seed capital. You invest that money to grow other streams of income, such that by the time now you'll be spending and the time children come, you'll have extra income that is coming from the side, which is going to contribute towards the income column, because on the left you have income column, right you have got the expenses column. Do not put on the expenses column what you cannot afford from what you are earning. If you want to spend more, increase the income. And most people get stuck to the job, or they start a business and only one business. We have seen many companies coming down in this country. I will not mention them, but we all know the companies just come down. So if you are the owner of those very big companies which you are making a lot of money in this country, but they came down, what do? You'll be in a lot of problems. We have seen some closing, others are giving warning, others are making losses, but you have a family. I normally look at the owners of those companies and sympathize with them. If they have not jipangad, it's very important that we learn how to do this. And as I finish on this, children, when they are grown up, see them, they have young children. I have got, my firstborn is 28 years. Oh. Yes, my lastborn is cleared from 4, she's 18. So when you have got grown up children, it's good to let them become what they are good at. Because I have seen parents trying to marshal their children to become like them. Don't do that to your children. In fact, I'm mentoring a young man who was in a school where I'm a board of governor in Kegodo, called Ian from Kahawa West. So he has got very good ideas that he's coming up with which want to grow. But somehow the parents, because they are not digitally endowed, they oppose what he's saying that he wants to do because of lack of understanding. Exactly. What do we do about this? Again, it's also a family issue, which I guess that you can also organize another forum when you can speak now deeper into those areas, so that we don't now move away from the topic for the day, but there are things we need to discuss. Okay, Esther,
culture is one of the biggest contributors of financial constraint in a relationship, especially right now when it is allowed to have more than one wife. How do you balance your finances?
I think it goes back to being very transparent and coming to an agreement at par. If we are going to buy property, given that now there is polygamy and it's been allowed, you know, if we're buying property, can it be written both our names? You know, transparency from the word go. If you're buying property and you're putting it under our name, how do you protect me? You know, going back to the trust issue, what are we? How is our relationship basically at the core of it? At the core of it all, because if there's no trust in other areas, especially in this very sensitive issue, I'll not allow you into my finances, or I'll buy a property and you'll never get to know about it. So it goes back to communication and what was our relationship founded on from the word go. I also keep saying you need to be very clear. Why am I getting married? You need to be very clear. If it's for the money, Ikisha, this person will move on. So you need to be very clear before you get married and ask yourself and have a very personal and serious conversation with yourself. Am I getting married because I really love this person? I can tolerate this person for sickness, in health, for rich, for poor, or hey, I've seen this potential here with all the money. Money comes and goes. But at the end of it all, what are we left with? It's us. Don't peg your identity on money. That's the other thing I wanted to say. If your identity is pegged on money, you'll borrow to keep up a certain lifestyle, to keep pleasing people who don't really like you at the end of the day.
To keep buying expensive homes,
to keep up with the Joneses.
To people who you don't like.
To people, not you don't like, they may not really like you. No, they're just trying to keep up with you and to see what are you doing on social media. But there's life beyond social media. There is real life. So go back to that real life and be you and do you and walk your own life.
I think what I like about budget, and I think I can say something we do practically as a family, a budget is a good place to actually, because the reality is people will disagree about finances because we are different people. What I want, what I'm passionate about, sometimes not what you're passionate about. But sitting down to do the budget is a good time to disagree. True. Up to the point where you'll agree. Because you do a budget, you can do your annual, you can do your biannual budget, and you can always, keep on checking, are we on track, are we off track? Even when children come in. So that, because even when children, like Mr. Maina has older children, at some point they need to weigh in. Either they want to talk about what kind of things they want, school they're going to, etc. So when you're able to come together and agree at that point, it's good because once you start executing, and one of the strengths of a joint account is actually it's a good transactional account. It's a good account which you can be able to probably do your transactions with. I mean, you put in money because sometimes they like to talk about pot. and a pot in terms of whether I'm earning $1 million, you're earning 200,000 or whatever it is, whether I have a quarterly income, I have a dividend, whatever it is, we sort of like sometimes put money in a pot. Then from that pot, we sort of transact out. Generally, as a principle financially, you shouldn't just have your money sitting in an account. So it's not even that. Usually, it's not that much money we're talking about, because when you are very clear about the things that you're passionate about, whether it's your investments, properties, charity, obviously your recurrent expenditure and all that. So the joint account and the budget thing is coming together for the budget. It's really setting out, this is the plan. This is how we're going to spend this money. And then now, when we start executing it, if we did the budget on the 2nd or 3rd of the month, I'm not going to have an argument with you on 15th.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I'm shocked, like, oh my gosh, I saw there was a transaction, a card transaction of 7,900 at Sarit. You know, at the back of my mind, I know that's, and if it overruns, when you come back, you're like, yeah, this one overruns. So I say, okay, fine, you've gone a bit in next month's budget for this item. Can we be balanced?
Yes, Minor.
Yes. So, very important, because if you have got a clear plan on how you're going to run your money, everything falls into place. And Abraham Lincoln said, if he's given the work to cut a tree for 1 hour, he'll spend 40 minutes planning and sharpening the axe, and only 20 minutes on the actual cutting. You cannot spend money before you plan for it. And that's where we normally get wrong. But it is not our mistake, by the way. I normally say that we are monkeys do and monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do.
Yes.
So where you come from determines who you become. You see, like, let's be honest. Wahindis in this country, they, as a family, they have got better money relationship than we do.
Management,
you see? And you see, most Wahindis, they don't even take their children to college so they can go and get employed. They come to work back in the business. And they also guide their children on what courses to go and take university. So them, they have got a bigger picture about money and wealth. Accumulation of wealth and also succession. We also are very poor in succession. So what I want us to do is to have, and I'm happy that you have been calling us to come and talk about this subject. Because before it never used to happen much on money and wealth creation and such. Our people need to know this. Money has two values. As a medium of exchange, and also as a store of value. We do not see money as a store of value, because what value are you giving? The one who made this cup is the one who stored the value for this cup.
Exactly.
You see? So if you do not actually have a cup to sell, money just comes through you, you're given, then you go and pay the bills. We need to train people, because the education that we have is what we have been given from nursery up to college. The other information about money, we have not been educated. In college, when they're training people business school, I have been to business school. They train people how to manage, not how to generate, how to manage. So the system is existing, like now K24, the existing, then you continue with it. You know how to manage. I want us to change that thinking so that we can empower people and grow, so that families can become strong, because they are the smallest unit of society.
Very true, very true. Maybe you could just give us 5 tips on how to make sure that money is not a financial issue in your relationship.
5 tips. 1, first know who you are. Know your personality, understand who you are, understand your beliefs and values when it comes to money. 2, be very open and honest about money. Be very realistic with where you are at, you know. 3, plan. Have goals, you know, have short-term, mid-term and long-term goals. And then when you come to your relationship, share your personal goals, listen to your partner's personal goals, and then come up with still relationship goals. It doesn't mean that when you get into a relationship, you lose your total identity. You can still have your own personal goals as you work towards the relationship goals. And then keep, the other thing, don't change your partner. The other thing we do is we get married and we keep saying, when he gets married, I'll change him. I know I can change him. Accept that person for who they are. When you're saying I do, this is what you're getting for life. So make peace with that and know how to work with it. And then as you move forward, keep communicating. Keep the conversation lines open. Keep being very real, and also be true to your needs, your wants, and your plans.
Wow, what a better way to end up, you know, this discussion. Thank you so much, Esther. That was quite informative. And thank you so much for joining us today. That was really good. I know when it comes to money matters, we can go on and on and on and on for years. But because of time, we have to wind this up. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Maina.
Thank you, Sarah.
And of course, thanks to you back at home for engaging us on our social media platforms. Remember, we've run out of time, but this conversation still goes on our social media platforms. Just remind you that our Facebook page is K24TV. Instagram and Twitter is at K24TV. Let us know what you think. Shiro, would you open a joint account with your... Like, sure, it's like about that. Money matters.
Nyumba yangu. So let me just plead the fifth. But of course, usually we focus our attention of those of you talking to us on Twitter.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have a big family of you just, you know, supporting us on Facebook as well. And of course, I have to send a quick, you know, shout out. But before we do that, we need to take a look at the poll.
Yes.
So of course, the poll is, Sarah?
59% no.
59%. Why did you just go to the negative side, man?
Because you start with who's leading.
Oh, wait, hold on. Go away. Okay, so the question was, should couples have a joint account? And 41% of you say yes, they should have a joint account. And as Jeff has said, 59% are saying, you know what, it's never going to happen.
My friend.
First of all, there's a story that is told about these guys who were married. And after 20 years, the husband found out that his landlord was his wife.
He was paying rent every single month.
Excuse me?
And you can imagine in those years there was a time he was told, imagine hatuna kanyama.
Imagine hakuna nyama.
Na landlord bado anangoja rent.
Then when
oh my God.
When he goes back with his boys, then she's telling him, you're drinking the rent money.
Wow. Can we leave those habits in 2017, please? Can we leave them?
Can we leave them all behind, please? Hey,
Sure,
let me
you
tell
had
you
some
something. The women were hiding millions from their men and vice versa. You don't know. Anyway, let's take a quick look at our Facebook family right now. Samuel Bogwa Wamboi, Gzoa Koine wa Kamasharia, Akaganyi Malimali, Jack Ogilo Rangi, Khalifa Oliver Twist, and Samuel Maranga. Thank you all so much for supporting us on our Facebook platform as well. And of course, we do this at the end of every show. We just give you shout outs and thank you for just staying with us from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Of course, it's a wrap. Tomorrow is a Hangout Friday.
Yay!
That's how it's going down, man.
My
The
favorite
best
day.
way to cap off your week has to be done right here on Hangout Friday. But for Thursday, it's a wrap. We're done.
We are done. I have been your host, Sarah Ndanuteshna.
I'm Chef Mote.
And I'm Shemurioki. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.